So, welcome back to Bodhicharyavatara. We are now going through the 9th chapter, the chapter on wisdom. We went through probably first 3 or maybe 4 stanzas. In the 4th stanza, maybe we did a little bit, but I need to say a little bit more on this. Within those whose ranks the lower in degrees of insight are confuted by the higher, by means of the examples that the yogis and the worldly both accept. In the different levels of insight, even in the worldly or in the samsaric level, there are ordinary, very samsaric people, and there are samsaric, still in the samsaric level, but yogis who have quite a strong level of meditation, like shamatha, calm abiding, and a little bit of insight, and so therefore they also differ. They differ their way of accepting or saying things. So that's why it says the means by the example of the yogis and the worldly both. This is not because they contribute by the higher. Now how would the question is asked? Yeah, okay, then the yogis see everything as emptiness, doesn't have any clinging to them, does not kind of see them as existing on its own, and they can experience something beyond concepts and things like that. And the other people see things as real and react to it like that. So maybe there is nothing to compare. It is two totally different beings and two different ways. And so how can one convince the other, and and thereby kind of go forward or go deeper and higher? So this, by means of the examples, the yogis and the world both accept. Now this is the understanding. What it means is that the yogis, or who have the more deeper level of understanding or experience, can actually convince or can prove those of the very ordinary worldly beings that everything that appears is not real as they appear, by some examples that they can both experience. I think I said a little bit about this last time, but say like a magic, or I think better, because this is magic is not a so good example nowadays. a dream, for instance. Both ordinary people and everybody knows what a dream is, and it is something that is experienced. When it's experienced, we experience as fully experienced. It is looks as if that is real. Looks as if it is totally existing on its own. But when we all know that when we wake up from that dream, there is nothing there. It didn't exist. It doesn't exist, and therefore we know that even when the dream was going on, it was not real. It was not truly existing. So through that experience, and there are many experiences like that, that it appears as if that's truly real and truly existing on its own, but actually when you go a little bit deeper and look a little bit, analyze in a stronger or a deeper way, we find that it doesn't exist as. And through that way, we can also, a yogi, a highly realized person, can actually explain and prove and make somebody who are very worldly understand that even these things that we go through now, these worldly things that appear, that they are very temporary, they're impermanent, they're changing moment by moment, they're not one, they're even like machines through which you can see very clearly, like, that everything is made of so many elements and so many things, and that, is changing all the time. Through that, you can explain and you can convince them. But there's nothing that those people, the worldly people, the samsaric people, our ordinary people, how they see as truly existing. There is no way that they can convince somebody who have actually experienced or understood that their nature of all these things they see are truly existing and real. And there's no way that they can explain that and they can convince the others. So that's why it says, by means of examples that the yogis in the world both accepts this through this way, that's why the yogic experience is more insightful and deeper than the way we actually experience. Then, the question is, the ordinary people ask this question, that in that case, if, everything is emptiness and everything is like a dream and everything is not existing on its own and truly not there, then why do we have to accumulate merit and, tread the path and get rid, all these practices and things like that? Why should we do it? It doesn't exist. There's nothing there to, what's the use? There's no need. For this and for the sake of a result, analysis is left aside. Now this, of course, analysis left aside. This one is, the sake of a result also. There's slightly different explanations and different commentaries also slightly different. And the result also, the real meaning of result is also reason or gupa for a reason explained like that. Sometimes it's also the way of saying, the Indian way of saying things in the Indian language. It is a little bit different. Anyway, what is saying here is that what appears because of causes and conditions. So therefore, what appears or what we experience, or what we that is not that's not rejected. Nobody is saying that it doesn't appear like that. What appearances, what we experience, the way we appears is valid experience. There is no dispute between the yogis or the ordinary people. Yeah. And so therefore, for what appears has its causes and conditions. So therefore, one has to use the same kind of causes, conditions to change those appearances for better. So therefore, this is not, if you do very negative deeds with negative emotions and in a very, negative way, then you have a very negative experience. Even in the samsara, you could have the hell experience, hunger cost experience, all different kind of karmic results can happen. And these are not something that, nobody is saying that this is not there. That is there. So therefore, it is very important that we try to change that. We try to, there is nothing to, if you say that this result of experience is not there in true nature, it doesn't make, doesn't necessarily go away the result. It's not like that. So therefore, we have to use the remedies for that. So therefore, it's very valid. It's very necessary, to practice wholesome deeds, to understand the nature of karma, the causes and the effects and all these things is very valid. It's although it is relative truth, it's very real. So therefore, it is for the sake of result. Analysis is left. It's nothing to do with, whether they are truly existing or not. That's what is the so therefore, what is the true debate is this, the fifth. When ordinary folk perceive phenomena, they look on them as real and not illusory. This then is the subject of debate where ordinary and the yogis differ. Now, the ordinary people perceive the phenomena, perceive whatever, and then they think or they understand that it is truly there, very real. There's nothing illusory about it. It's truly existing on its own. Whether it's the good result or the good positive karmic result or the bad karmic negative result. So they feel very, very strongly kind of, I am there, everything is there, lots of attachment, lots of aversion, lots of hatred, lots of, all kind of negative emotions and things like that. But then the yogis, they look at the things and they say they are not that real. There is not something totally existing on its own. They're very illusory. So therefore, so that's where it's not about what appears, but it's about the nature of what appears. That's where the debate is. And that the result or the nature of things is illusory, does not make that we don't have to do illusory, dharma practice or illusory wholesome deeds in order to, change the result of illusory, suffering and pain and problems. So therefore, of course, as long as that, we totally don't, get the experience that, because the more we understand the illusory nature of things, and that we become less craving, less, less and less holding on to what appears as real, and then the more and more easily we can actually let go of or change our negative actions and negative emotions and things like that. And this would very much help to liberate from our negative actions and things like that. But that is not to neglect our efforts to accumulate more positive actions. Now this is very important at this stage because, people, if they study like Pragyaparamita or the emptiness, and through that study, if they think that, okay, now I don't have to practice wholesome deeds, I don't have to, do more, positive deeds, less negative actions, and work on my negative emotions and things like that, because everything is emptiness, then that's totally wrong view. That doesn't lead anywhere. That is totally harmful, to the person, and also to other people, because he would teach that, and he would, and he would lead people in that way. So it's totally wrong. So therefore, those who understand this, the the emptiness and then the illusory nature of things clearly, rightly. For them, instead of becoming, less caring for the positive actions and, getting rid of negative actions and emotions, they would become much more, more careful about that, because they can see that actually, these results do not change just by thinking that they don't they don't truly exist. It is all about the way you act, you react, and how you emotionally and how you experientially react. That's where how things appear, not just your intellectually thinking it doesn't exist or it doesn't matter or there's nothing there. Not that. So therefore, those who really understand the illusory nature or the emptiness nature of things become very, very clear, and for them it becomes so important to actually get rid of negative actions and become very, very clear what the karma and karmic influence is. So this, I think, is very important. So this is the fifth, and I think I am not sure if I read the Tibetan, so I will read it. Nika yon dwe pipi dwe de masi shers. Jite pa ngun ton hin yon da nye de no to shi jima tabar membin da nanjo pa nan jite tsu. So I think that's up to that. So thank you. Fifth. Now we go sixth next time. Thank you.